Good morning, friends. It's such a pleasure to be standing here, and of course, after a wonderful welcome by Professor Gandhi. And I see very illustrious bunch of people sitting here, leading the academia as well as the industry. And I think, normally it is the practice that at the end of the event, people thank for all those who made this possible. But I think it would be in order to say that the functionaries of FWA, that does not include me, Professor Gandhi and Shiv and others did a wonderful job in putting this event together. And I think they deserve an applause right in the very beginning. The job that has been assigned to me is to take you through, give you some idea about what FWA is all about. I know most of the people would know it, but it's not always a bad idea to just reiterate that and remind you what we stand for. In addition, I would be giving you, walking you through what we call the event per se and the logic behind it and what is going to happen during the end of the day and what is it, of course, the objectives, plus what are the kind of takeaways we would like us to have. As Professor Gandhi rightly pointed out, that we have been discussing these topics, industry, academia, integration, collaboration, walking together, dancing together, and so forth, since eons, but has it really made a dent? And also he said that it has been very, very successful when in Kellogg's. But I must say, sir, being a part of the academic world, that there has been a great strides and successful strides made in bringing the two together. But definitely there is a scope to strengthen it further, to make it more deeper, to make it more meaningful in the context of the country, that we are at the cusp of moving ahead, jumping towards what we perceive to be our claim as a nation. Because India is not merely born in 47, we have been there since ages, and therefore it's very, very important to claim that, and I think we need to work together in this direction. The whole objective of FWA, Federation of World Academics, I call it the Federation, and does not have anything to do with FBI, etc., is a unique concept to bring all academicians, and let me tell you, we have a very laudable objective the world over. Okay, it's not related to India. So any major stride, you have to take the first step. So this is the first step in this direction. We came into existence. We are still about a year old as a toddler, and we are weighing our steps. And the whole idea was that what is it that the academic world needs today? We constantly go through various challenges, and I'm just reminded of today's newspaper piece which says that the government of India, particularly UGC, says that they are going to, the 7th Pay Commission, which all of us have been waiting for. I come from a private school, so we have not yet talked about it, but government sector is pretty happy that this is going to be implemented. And then UGC says that they are going to fund only 70% of the additional funds that would be required to implement 7th Pay Commission. 30% has to come from the institutions themselves, the universities which are under control of UGC. Now, of course, in days from now, the entire issue will pan out, and how the Delhi University has already responded in terms of that it will be immediate fee hike, and the quality higher education would not be available to people who are not that well off. I would say this is another challenge which is kind of happening right away. And the whole idea of bringing this together, because there is a need for both academia and the industry to work together, particularly when you look at the higher education in the professional higher education, okay, whether it's engineering, pharmacy, medicine, management, and so forth. Now, so that whole idea was that, is there something which we can do together to help each other achieve our objectives and goals. And the whole objective of the FWA or the Federation is to facilitate networking of academicians worldwide, number one. Number two, to have a deeper partnership with the industry, so that at the end of the day, though liberal arts are supposed to provide opening of the minds, but professional education is expected to get people jobs, so that people get quality jobs. I'm not going to rattle off how the salary levels have come down. I read a piece that an engineer today gets a salary of about 5,000–6,000, whereas a chef who works behind the scenes is claiming about 18,000. So I'm sure those vice chancellors who are here, who are leading the engineering education, they would be worried about how do we ensure that our students get the due. And they will not be able to get the due, their due, unless they have what we call the requisite skills that are required by the industry. And we have wonderful people sitting up here who would be giving you the industry perspective. FWA looks into, focuses on welfare and progression of academicians and academic institutions, a platform for professional development for academicians and academic leaders. So we are not only talking about the academic leaders alone, but that humble crowd which is known as the teachers, okay, or the professors. Create access to global opportunities through global exchange program, study tours, and most importantly, to share wonderful, great best practices which are followed in one institution but not available to other institutions, so that everyone can learn through this process and become better and better. We also would like to create a repository of resources useful for academicians on a single platform. I think gone are the days when you can own a resource. I think it's time we need to have what we call share the resources, okay? And so therefore, we would also like that if there is an excellent professor here or excellent practice over there, how can we share it with each other? Because there is a huge dearth of what we call quality people, and I'm sure all of us would agree with it. So these are certain laudable ideas we have. So we would like to become an advocacy group which tries to speak to the government of the day, so that the policies and practices are created which can really take the entire education sector to a higher level from where it is right now. So this is, in a nutshell, FWA. You have been given literatures, you will go through it and understand it more. And at this point in time, I would urge that this federation, which is still a toddler, needs huge support from all of us sitting here to see to it that we become successful, because it's your voice which is going to be collected together to make it more louder and more impactful, so that some of the ears which have put some sort of cotton in them, they may be opened up and they pay attention. So this is in a nutshell the FWA. Let me quickly move on to the theme. As you can see, synergizing academia industry towards skilling and transforming India. We have put academia first, so people from industry, please don't take it otherwise. We have used the alphabets in the right order. It could have been the industry academia, but we thought that this works better. Now, why did we think in? Because we thought that this is a very contemporary issue that we need to talk about, because Government of India last 3 years has taken major initiatives, and some of these initiatives are not going to bear the fruit unless academia industry partner together. So for example, Make in India, where we want to become a manufacturing hub, where we want to create jobs for people, and manufacturing industry provides more jobs. We are also talking about Skill India, okay? And please do not ignore very laudable plan or the mission that we have, what we call the Swachh Bharat, because unless we have cleanliness around, cleanliness not only in the atmosphere but also in the mind, nothing is going to happen. And we thought that in addition to the Swachh Bharat, we would like to what we call create a Saksham Bharat, a capable India, which can really encash upon the opportunities that are available. So why skilling India is important? because we would like the government policies to dovetail and then be in sync with what we call the what academia and the industry is trying to do together. So it's a process of dovetailing the two together, where we can talk about how we can help the government achieve its policy, which is good for the nation. And so let me give you a context of what I'm talking about, and I'm going to quote from, this is nothing mine, but quote from Ministry of Skill Development report, which talks about that skilling India is a huge priority. And why? Because there are immense challenges ahead of us. 54% of Indian population is below 25 years of age, and over 62% of the population is in the working age group. So 54% below 25, 62% in the working age group. And I'm sure you have heard this statistics many times, but it's not merely numbers. We have been talking about the demographic dividend because of the productive age, a huge percentage of population being in the productive age. But if we do not skill India, if we do not give them opportunities so that they can take up jobs, meaningful jobs, and be productive, there is a huge danger that this dividend may become a disaster. And let me say, this is my own perception, the average age of a criminal in India is coming down and down and down. So somewhere or the other, the youth of the nation, instead of using their energies in the productive directions, are using in the destructive ways, and therefore it's, I think, incumbent upon all of us sitting here to stop this process, this slide that is happening. It is expected that by 2025, almost 1 in 5 of the world's working age population, which is about 18.3%, will be Indian. So working one-fifth of it will be an Indian. Recent skill gap reports suggest that over 109 million incremental human resources will be required in India alone, across 24 key sectors by the year 2022. 93% of Indian workers work in the unorganized sector and acquire skills through informal channels, and they lack formal certification. In this regard, I would like to mention that we have taken great initiative in terms of what we call the fashion technology, and some of the areas which have grown in a big way is like those designers and those jewelers. A Tanishq, you may have a great designer, but at the end of the day, who executes those designs? If you really look into it, what you would realize, there are not products of skill institutions. There are traditional artisans who have a great faith, great legacy, and they are the ones who are actually performing. And there is a huge lament by all the designers that around festival times, when our artisans and workers and tailors and cutters, when they go back home, say promising that they will be back in 15 days, they are not seen for next 3 months, because that's the only time they get a break, and the entire industry comes down. So therefore, there is a huge need to produce skilled people like these traditional artisans who have a sense of pride, a sense of legacy to continue doing great work. Unfortunately, most of these skill experiments have not succeeded because people have acquired those skills without a passion, a feeling for it. Okay, there has to be a huge desire to succeed and to do well in that field, not merely for money, but has to come from somewhere in the heart. So when we're talking about skilling, it's very important that in order to do this, we need to hold hands. We always been holding hands, holding hand is very static unless we shake it together, which I call shaking is actioning upon the partnership. We create partnerships, but don't action upon them, because no handshake is worth it if it is static. So therefore, we need to make meaningful what we call the relationship which actually work, and we have to do different things differently. We cannot keep on doing the same thing same way because they will get the same results. And the whole objective of this seminar, this conclave, is to build on that. So that's the general, the context of the seminar, the conclave. We have, of course, the inaugural session, and Mr. Anurag Batra, who's supposed to join us, he is still on the way, and he would be joining, and we are supposed to have the Joint Secretary from the Skill Ministry to be here, but he had to travel with the Minister, and therefore he could not come in. So this is where it is, and then what is going to happen quickly during the course of the day is that we have divided it into sessions. So there are specific industry sessions and then the academia sessions. The first half of the day focuses on the industry session, and we have put together a thematic address, okay, which is going to be given by, we have already people over here, and I'm extremely grateful to Mr. Rajiv Bhaduria, Director Group HR of the Jindal Group, to be here. Good old, we have worked together, and it's such a pleasure to see you here, sir. And then we have Mr. Harjeet Khanduja, Vice President HR, Reliance Jio, and these gentlemen will be talking about on talent and skill gap that they perceive currently in their respective organizations. And then we will have also they will talk about issues and challenges that they feel, because they have been veterans in the field, in the bringing the industry and the academia together. So I'm sure you have poured your minds over it. We would love to hear from you, and probably we'll take it further down. Then it will be followed by a panel discussion around the theme Academia Industry Synergy Way Forward. So we already have kind of enumerated the challenges and issues, and then we'll take it forward to, now how do we build up this relationship? How do we overcome those challenges? How do we identify those facilitating forces which can bind us together? So that would be a panel discussion, and we have wonderful people in terms of Mr. Andalik Jain, Chief People Officer JK Siemens, Mr. Avdesh Dikshit, Head Global HR Moody's Analytics, Knowledge Services, Mr. Vijay Rai, again he had to go somewhere, he could not come in. He's MD Asia Pacific and EMEA Markets, Saviours US Incorporated, and he also happens to be the President of NHRD NCR chapter. Then we have Mr. Anshumal Dikshit, a veteran in corporate executive and currently consultant as in HR Mantra, a venture he has started keeping in mind the needs of the academia industry working together. Then we will have in the second half of the day, we'll have, of course, we have in between, we have Guru Gopal Das coming in and speaking. Of course, you know him, a wonderful speaker, and I really like him for the simple reason that very profound ideas he puts us across in a very simplistic manner, so that the attention span of people, it could be varying with you because I'm speaking too much, it is brought in together. And so that's the greatness of this gentleman. We'll hear him. And then we have the academia session in the second half of the day. We have where we have put in together illustrious vice chancellors who are professors at one point in time, and then now the academic leads. So they have seen both sides of the world, and I'm sure some of them have had the industry experience. There will be two panels discussions around this, and we would like it to be a multi-way interaction. So that's the reason we are talking about that everyone makes opening remarks for a few minutes, and then the anchor or the moderator would open it further for discussion with the audience. So the themes would around which academic sessions would be, panel discussions would be on issues and challenges in professional education, and number two would be framework for skill-based education, because skilling is very, very critical. I'm not going to rattle off what has been the industry lamenting about all along. Finally, what we expect as an outcome of this conclave one day, that we highlight the issues in making skill-based education mainstream. So it's not merely finishing up the curriculum, conducting exams and giving them grades, but also how can we mainstream the process of skilling. So there would be curriculum and the pedagogic issues also come in, and I'm sure the academic sessions would take care of this. We would also like to have as an outcome thoughts on a framework for skill-based education. And lastly, how we can have an industry academia buy-in on skill-based education so that we can work together, not merely as a recruiter, but also builder of this skill base amongst the people. Friends, of course, we have what you call very high expectations out of this, but I'm quite confident with the kind of commitment that all of us have shown by coming here from various places, will definitely make us successful. Thank you very much for your patience. Thank you.